Now, barely a week after the board of trustees of the renowned Lilavati hospital were accused of siphoning off hundreds of crores, NewsX has uncovered a money trail that exposes them. 4 trustees who are already embroiled in a family dispute are now alleged to have siphoned off money from the hospital and hidden it in tax havens. Now, exclusive documents with NewsX clearly establish how Prabodh Mehta and Rashmi Mehta and their sons Bhavin and Chetan are allegedly stashing away money looted from Lilavati allegedly in offshore tax havens before round-tripping it back into their companies in India. Shockingly, the government has these details but has done nothing about it. All right, over there on your screens were marked at least three individuals who are on the board of trustees there at Lilavati who are in now suspect of doing illegally routing that money. Now, for more on this, let's head across to Ratna. Ratna, you have those documents. What are they saying?
Absolutely, Alistair. In fact, the documents with NewsX do show how over 100 crores was allegedly pumped from Lilavati by the trustees then into Singapore-based company RP Gems Limited. In fact, what you do have on your screens is the way it was done. So exactly who owns RPG Gems? A closer look, and Pramod, Rashmi, Chetan and Bhavin appear to be 100% shareholders in RP. Each of the family members have stakes in the company. And also, in fact, Alistair, if we do really talk about this case further and the kind of money we're talking about, the money trail out here, the document NewsX showed that the money from Singapore-based RP Limited flows back into 2 Indian companies, Adesh and Kirti Equities. Well, more money from mysterious Mauritius-based company Kirti Communication also comes into Kirti Equities, but that's not all. Shockingly, Kirti Equity acquires 14% of ING Investment Management, which has the exclusive contract to manage all of the financial schemes of ING Vaishya Bank, which amounts to 50,000 crores. Alistair, back to you.
Right now, important here to mention, Ratna, both Chetan and Prabodh have criminal records in Belgium and Israel and have court cases pending in Indian courts here as well. So we're looking at what's being called the tainted past as far as the 2 of them are concerned. As far as Prabodh's past is concerned, indicted by a Belgian court, indicted for fraud, forgery, money laundering, through a particular company, Jumble NV, sentenced to 6 months. It's a suspended jail term. It was not finally implemented, the suspended jail sentence on that. Now, let's look at Chetan. On the other hand, the allegations prosecuted by Israeli authorities in a bribery case to the director of the tainted Belgian company, Jumble NV. Okay, let's get you more perspective on this. Let's head across to Jahangir Pocha with more. Jahangir, this raises here a larger question of the entire issue of black money.
Black money is one of the main political issues in the country, Ratna and Alistair, and obviously one of the main economic issues. With more than $1 trillion basically sitting in tax havens, India could solve a lot of its problems if it brought this money home. And what this case shows is that it's particularly troubling because it shows 3 things. Beyond the usual money laundering, it shows a couple of trustees in a charitable hospital basically trying to siphon money out of it, sending it to a tax haven overseas, routing it through the notorious Mauritius route, bringing it back to India and investing it in a bank. And as we'll tell our viewers in a short while, that's one of the most troubling issues here in this case of the Lilavati trustees.
Jahangir, just stay with us because let's look at some of the unanswered questions that are cropping up tonight. Why are unknown money launderers managing public funds? Remember here, this is a trust after all. Now, why is also ING Vaishya allowing public funds to be managed by a company whose shareholders have a tainted past? And also, why has no official questioned the infusion of funds into the 2 Indian companies from offshore tax havens? Importantly, lastly here, why hasn't the RBI raised a red flag on the alleged tainted shareholders of the company managing ING Vaishya's deposits? Okay, so Jahangir, here the troubling fact that we're mentioning about this is, yes, we're talking about one hospital, but then if you look at the entire money trail, it goes back into a bank which many people, perhaps people watching this the show right now, have money invested in.
That's right. One of the most troubling things about this case is the fact that money basically siphoned out of Lilavati was transferred to Singapore, brought back into India, and then used to acquire about 14% in a company called ING Management, which in turn basically manages 50,000 crores for the ING Vaishya Bank. Now this is very disturbing because it shows a cycle of irregularity that affects common citizens. It is not just about one person or one family basically making illegal gains, but about how they're using those illegal gains to manage public money in the quantum of 50,000 odd crores.
Right, Jahangir, do stay with us because on the phone line is Neeta Koladkar, our Mumbai Bureau Chief. She's been tracking these developments. She also has with her a copy of these documents, these exclusive documents. Neeta, you have spoken with some of the Mehtas. You tried to get in touch with them. What was the response?
Yes, the one faction that did speak to me was the Niket Mehta, and they are now addressing the charges leveled against them, that is the misappropriation of funds, also for overpricing of drug prices in the hospitals. They have bought from various suppliers, and they have shown that they have a very high cost on paper while they actually have paid a very less cost, and they have sold at a very high price to the people in the hospitals. So the FDA has been investigating this matter, and this is one faction. While the other faction of Chetan and the rest of the family, they have denied so far that they have any involvement in this black money routing and that they have, misappropriated funds. But what the documents show very clearly that they have used the LKH trust funds, which are purely for charitable purposes of medical and hospital services, that they have diverted to settle their litigation fees. For prominent and leading solicitor firms of Mumbai, they have diverted their money from the trust. So a lot of other
because on your screens is a picture of how this money has been routed. So we'll pull that up for you once again to show you how that money from that Singapore-based company went to various other companies. We'll toss it over to Jahangir to give us a better picture of that.
Basically what happened is, and this is what is alleged, that when money was basically extracted out of the Lilavati hospital, it was sent to a company called RP Gems in Singapore. From there, it basically came back into India, into two companies, Adesh and Kirti. And then Kirti basically used that money to buy into ING Management, which, as we said earlier, manages 50,000 crores for the ING Vaishya Bank. What's interesting here, as you just saw on your screens, is that money from a Mauritius-based company called Kirti Communications was also funneled into Kirti Equities. So a basic cycle of murky transactions here that basically involves what could be the looting of a charitable hospital, and then that loot being used to manage 50,000 crores in public money. And the most troubling aspect of this, much of this has been known to Indian authorities for years, and yet no action has been taken against these four gentlemen who are accused: Prabodh Mehta, Chetan Mehta, Bhavin Mehta, and Rashmi Mehta.
Thanks very much indeed, Jahangir Porter, joining us from the newsroom with that. That's the breaking story at this point in time. Earlier, Neeta Koladkar on the phone. This is a story that we're going to be tracking. Do stay with us. Lots more up ahead. That's it, though, for me from now on Newsroom at 8.